Okay, fellas, let's go in here and review. If you didn't pay attention to everyone's matchup this week, Bonzo's going to come in. I know there's a lot going on in the league today. We're talking about that later. We're talking about some of the transactions that have happened later. Right now, it's Tuesday, so I owe you guys a weekly review. Let's recap where teams are trending and what went on this week. We got Maui's Muffins falling to draft night goes. So I believe both of these teams moved to 1-1 now. Bounce back game for Ty's squad and Sam's squad struggling. One thing that you notice, these teams, I don't see many injuries going on for these teams. This was a pretty fair matchup. Both of them going in about as close to full strength as you can be. Sam starting Paris Campbell over guys like Dallas Goddard, Kadarius Toney, a couple other players who maybe could have got him some more points there. Doesn't matter. Gets blown out. Gets blown out by Ty's squad. Sam really only has Justin Herbert and Nick Chubb come through. Everybody else stinkers. Nobody else scores a touchdown. Nobody else even flirts with 100 yards. So, we got a good game out of Gerald Everett, but that's about it. Not enough to take him over Ty, who started off the week with Mike Williams and Eckler doing their job. Rodgers did all right against the Bears, and then obviously Tyreek Hill is the cherry on top for this team, who really accentuates the blowout. He even got a TD from Waller. He got a TD from Cooper. He got a TD from Mike Will, 2 from Tyreek. Lots of TDs scored this week. Penny at the flex didn't do good for him. Interesting to see how this team trends going forward because he did really bad last week and now he did really good. So maybe we're looking at a boom-bust team here. That seems to be behavior of Tyreek and Mike Will, both boom-bust players. So some weeks this team's going to be a wagon. Some weeks, who knows? And it'll be interesting to see if Molly's Muffins can bounce back after starting off hot. Pretty embarrassing loss, only 100 points put up, 109. Here we go, second matchup. One of the closest of the week. Maybe it is the closest. I think neither of these teams put up great numbers, right? But detrimentally horny gets it done, obviously. Josh Allen with the absolute heater of a performance last night lifts his team above. He doesn't even need Dawson Knox. Dawson Knox doesn't even have a good game. Josh Allen on his own lifts him above Rhett's team. I think he must have been down. I mean, what must he have been down then? About 40, right? Going into last night, close to it. Brett has nobody going on Monday night. Josh Allen and Dawson Knox come in over the top and get the dub. Mark survives a down week from Devontae Adams. He survives a not so good of a week from Thielen. Oh, Thielen played last night as well. Curtis Samuel doing well for him. Curtis Samuel looking really good through 2 weeks. Interesting little play there. Brett was in a tough spot. All right, so let's just realize that Brett's team, Keenan Allen was out. He decides to bench Akers for the likes of Breece Hall and McCaffrey. I don't know. I don't like Brett's team. It makes me nervous. He's another one of those teams who started 1-0. I think he was the lowest scoring team to win last week, and now he's again a low score but takes an L. And Mark moves to 2-0, but was it that impressive? I don't know. We'll see where this team's trending. CD Boys, the projected last place finisher in our league, coming through and scoring almost the lowest points in the week. Just gets absolutely nothing. Nothing from Kmet. Nothing from Robert Anderson was chasing those points. Nothing from Ramondre. ETN looks like the RB2 in Jacksonville. And Derek Carr and Marquise Brown aren't going to do enough to get you a win when all those other guys suck. Good bounce back week for Kuba Smooth. I mean, he got a nice week to play. He got a nice week to play an easy matchup because he had Aaron Jones and Amon-Ra go off, but then the rest of his team kind of cold, right? Dalvin Cook cold, Russell Wilson cold. Cortland Sutton seems to be coming into form, but he had a TD call back. So this is a good get-right spot for Kuba Smooth's team. I think it's trending up. I think I said last week, this is the team with the loss this week that you feel best about, and what do they come do? They bounce back, take advantage of the weak opponent, and now they're looking on to the rest of the season. So CD Boys, very, very much making a case for Sacco early. Hot seat is trending towards that playoff projection that we had them preseason. Another low-scoring matchup here, Indies Sheiks and Broncos Country. I mean, Broncos Country posting the lowest of the week. How did that happen? A dud from Derrick Henry. Javonte doesn't get in the end zone. Judy getting hurt obviously doesn't help. He started Taysom Hill at the tight end. I mean, I don't know. Yikes. Left some bench points out there, obviously. Juju started off the week not so good for this team. So you feel bad for him. They might bounce back, but also it's starting to look more and more bleak as Henry posts two back-to-back bad weeks. This team is really going to be leaning heavily on Javonte and A.J. Brown. Not anybody else on this team you're excited about. Whereas Indy's cheeks, Jalen Hurts obviously carrying him to that dub. 111 is not an impressive point total. You got a lot from Mark and Jalen Hurts, but left Garrett Wilson on the bench at 30. That's reasonable. I would have started Ayuk over Garrett Wilson. Probably would have started Hawkinson too. Maybe going forward, he starting Garrett Wilson or Duvernay, someone at that flex spot. Mooney is looking not so good. I think Michael Carter is about to start losing touches, so he's going to be without Mike Evans this next week. Good thing this team stole a win when it did, because I don't think it's necessarily trending in a good direction even after getting the first win. Sim for Sarah, start preseason number 1 team, and no surprise, they come through with a big win, highest point total on the week. Kyler, the late game heroics, Drake London, Jalen Waddle, Cooper Kupp, T. Higgins, all doing their job. Even Zach Ertz had a bunch of catches down the stretch there in that game. The only person you're disappointed with on this team is Edmonds. And I mean, Barkley, what a week for Barkley to have a down week, right? It's not like you needed him this week. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes in that RB2 spot going forward. But man, this team put up these numbers without Pittman. That's scary. Definitely projected to be the top team as of right now. C- draft grade, performing like a C-, just below average with the point totals this week. He's leaning on Carson Wentz. That's a bold strategy. Didn't get a lot from Deebo and Chase. I mean, the wide receivers are the strength of this team, and nobody really came through. Your best is McLaurin with 12. That's not what you want when you've got the likes of Chase, Samuel, Cooks, McLaurin. Obviously, Godwin out this week, hurt him a little bit. Wound up sitting. So the 2 running backs he sat, Clyde and James Robinson, outperformed Jacobs and Patterson. Not that it would have mattered. He still would have lost, but it would look good for the season-long point totals, right, and tiebreakers. I think I said in my matchup preview, I don't know why you'd play Jacobs and Patterson over Clyde and James Robinson, and I was right. Even Jeff Wilson. I mean, you might want to start Jeff Wilson. So this team's coming into form at running back, which is interesting because that was a weak point for it. Maybe Wentz is actually good this year. This team could improve. This team could be trending up, ran into a bad matchup this week, but I wouldn't write him off yet. James Robinson looks good. Clyde's posted good back-to-back weeks. Maybe Jeff Wilson's the guy there. So, I mean, I would like to hate on this team because I had him in a C- draft grade, had him as missing the playoffs, but trending in the right direction if the wide receivers can just figure it out. Oh, this one. Troy Cundy, if you're still listening, you might want to cover your ears. What a hero performance from Stefon Diggs. Ravens flock, let's fly, was down 22 or something like that, 25, I think, going into the night game. The night game's on Monday. Obviously, it was Justin Jefferson versus Diggs and Devontae Smith. The Jefferson side had a 25-point lead, and Diggs just comes out and drops a 44 bomb. Ravens flock doesn't even need Devontae Smith to show up, even though he does. This would have been a better week for Devontae Smith's goose egg. Doesn't matter. He's coming into form, it looks like. Ravens flock survived some bad performances from Pitts and A.J. Dillon and Kenyon Drake because he gets Lamar. A-Rob catches a tutty. Diggs, Devontae Smith all do their job. Mixon's getting the work, so I think he'll be fine. This team is still playing without Dobbins and was without Gabe Davis this week. So it put up good numbers without 2 potential starters. Definitely trending in a good direction. What a hero performance from Stefon Diggs. The implication, just kind of choked it. Jefferson, bad week to have Justin Jefferson just because he was up against Darius Slay. He wasn't getting any targets. Bad week for Mahomes and Kelsey, right? Not many players getting in the end zone here. You got a TD from Gibson and Michael Thomas and 2 from Kirk. But then you got a couple of just mediocre performers that should have been better, like Jefferson, like Kelsey. Those are mainly your 2 top scorers instead they're 2 of your lower scorers. Kareem Hunt did not continue his magic of getting in the end zone. So tough week for implication. They will bounce back. They'll be fine. This is a playoff team still. But how about it for Ravens flock getting over the hump? As you can see, this team's toughest matchup, I believe. Let's see here. How do I sort by this? More team insights. Yep. This team was 4-0. The implication was against Ravens flock in the past. Obviously, that's going to move to 4-1. He gets over the hump. I think that the implication owner Troy Cundy, he came up to owner John O. Alberts at the gym last night and said, hey, the streak lives on. The streak of defeating your team lives on in this league. Because it was looking like I think ESPN gave a 85% chance for the implication to win. Stefan Diggs said, he's that man. Completed the comeback. So let's take a look at the standings now. Now we got standings to look at. Three teams sit at 3-0 or 2-0. Sorry, Simfer Sarah, Ravenslock Let's Fly, and Detrimentally Horny. If you look at the points for there, obviously a trend we like to watch just to see how teams are performing. We have Simfer Sarah, the highest scoring team in the league by a long shot. The Implication, the second highest scoring team by a long shot. So those two are clumped together with a lot of points. Implication, huge week one. Simfer Sarah, huge week one and week two. I think Ravenslock is the third highest scorer. Detrimentally Horny, middle of the pack, but 2-0, so it'll be interesting to see where that team trends. CD's boys all the way at the bottom there. Two abysmal performances back-to-back that earns them the 0-2. C- draft grade, maybe the unluckiest team so far with a 224 point total, but 0-2, just getting some bad matchups, obviously. The highest points against, you can see 294. Another year of Kuba Smooth, having a high points against. He's ran into, I think it was the Implication week one. This week he mustered out the win, but I think the team he was up against put up a good total. So good for him to get over that hump and get that first win. But Broncos country's a surprise to me. I thought that was a playoff team, and look at him through 2 weeks. Not looking good. Yeah, this is how the league is shaking out. 3 teams 2-0, 3 teams 0-2, and then a cluster of 6 in the middle at 1-1. Big week coming up here. Who's gonna stay undefeated? Who's gonna drop to 0-3? What teams are gonna trend to that 2-1 or that 1-2? Will be interesting to see.